This case has just taken a major turn, man. Nolan Wells' family is now pursuing legal action, and one question is becoming even louder. Why has this tragedy reached the point of a lawsuit and them suing Nolan's friends? Now, today we're breaking down new legal developments and what the attorneys are saying and what this could mean for the investigation moving forward. Hey, y'all. I'm Uda. Welcome back to On Go. And on this channel, if you're new here, all we do is cover breaking news. We cover major stories with facts, with context and commentary, okay? Today, we're going to take a look into the latest developments in the Nolan Wells case. A new report discusses legal actions connected to Nolan's death. And we are going to break down what the actual article says from the Magnolia Tribune and what the legal notice means and why this could be one of the biggest developments that we've seen in this case so far, right? So salute to everybody. Make sure you're liking, sharing, hitting the poll. Make sure you're voting, subscribing to Uda On Go. Make sure you hit the notification bells and make sure that you're notified when we're dropping new content. I'm going to get right into this, okay? So let's get right into this document. Okay, as you can see, on the day of his funeral, Nolan Wells' parents sent notice to his friends and their families of the intention to sue them. Okay, now, so they say, you are hereby placed on notice that the litigation concerning the unaliving of Nolan Wells is reasonably anticipated. The letter from the Carol Bufkin PLLC, a Mississippi-based law firm associated with Ben Crump, notifies the families of Nolan Wells and his friends. It's going down. Nolan Wells' funeral was held on July 20th, 2026, following his tragic 4th of July disappearance and his unaliving. The 18-year-old Ocean Springs teen's body was found 2 days later on the shore of Horn Island, where the Wells and a large group of his friends had gathered to celebrate the holiday off of the Mississippi coast. Wells's family, represented by a high-profile civil rights attorney, Ben Crump, has launched an independent investigation into his unaliving amid persistent speculation of potential foul play and the role his friends have played on this day of his disappearance. Now, much of the focus is on Crump's press conference, has fixated on potential criminal conduct, though to date, there is no publicly available evidence to support those claims. District Attorney Angel Myers McGrath said last week that all of the evidence will be presented to a grand jury, which is the norm for her office, with the same care and commitment to the truth as every investigation. Now, every unaliving in the county except those of natural causes and non-criminal car wrecks are presented to a grand jury, McCraft said, and many people don't know that. But on the day of his funerals, attorneys representing Wells sent spoliation letters to several of Wells's friends and their parents. These letters typically serve as the first step in an anticipated civil lawsuit. Now, you are hereby placed on notice that litigation concerning the unaliving of Nolan Wells is reasonably anticipated accordingly. You have an immediate legal duty to preserve all materials of all kinds within your possession, custody, or control that may be relevant in any way to the claims or defenses, the letter reads. This duty includes not to only you, but also to your family members. It also extends to any person or entity providing services to you, acting on your behalf, or who is subject to your control. Now, the Magnolia Tribune has obtained a copy of the letters, which are 10 pages long, identifying categories of evidence which Wells's family is asking recipients to preserve. Materials sought include text messages, group chats, emails, phones and laptops, social media accounts, photos and videos, and boat maintenance records and fuel purchases, which is good, man. They're going into this. Magnolia Tribune has also confirmed that these letters were received by multiple friends and their families. Crump, who is not licensed to practice law in Mississippi, has associated with the Ridgeland-based law firm of Carol Bufkin PLLC. The letter was signed by Gary Bufkin, who is no stranger to high-profile cases. Bufkin represented former Heinz County District Attorney Jody Owens in the Jackson bribery scandal, as well as Nancy New and her nonprofit in the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families (TANF) scandal. Both ultimately entered guilty pleas. Bufkin also represented a Chinese nonprofit in a lawsuit filed by the state of Mississippi against China for its role in the COVID-19 scandemic. You already know, I ain't gonna say the word. A copy of the letter was sent to Wells's friends and their families is shown below. So we can zoom it a little bit so we can see it a little bit better. Let's move it, center it. Cool. Hopefully everybody can see that better. Okay, it said read Nolan Xavier Wells, unalive, the letter of representation, the notice of duty to preserve evidence and spoliation. Now, this firm and our co-counsel represent the parents of Nolan Xavier Wells, the unalive, and we are investigating Nolan's unaliving, which occurred in the early days of July 2026 on or in the vicinity of Horn Island, Mississippi. Please address all future communications regarding this matter to me and my co-counsel. If you are represented by counsel, please forward this letter to your attorney. Duty to preserve evidence. You are hereby placed on notice that litigation concerning the unaliving of Nolan Wells is reasonably anticipated. Accordingly, you have an immediate legal duty to preserve all materials of all kinds within your possession, custody, or control that may be relevant in any way to the claims or defenses. This duty includes not to only you, but also to your family members. It also extends to any person or entity providing services to you, acting on your behalf, or who is subject to your control. Spoliation notice. Under the state and federal law, the destruction or failure to preserve evidence may be deemed spoliation by a trial court and may result in sanctions, adverse evidentiary rulings, or a negative inference jury instruction at trial. Mississippi law recognizes that the destruction or failure to preserve relevant evidence after litigation is reasonably foreseeable may constitute spoliation and may warrant appropriate sanctions or adverse evidentiary consequences. Thomas versus Isle of Capri Casino. They cite a case. Now, because this matter is and may be litigated in federal court, recipients are further advised that the preservation of electronically stored information is governed by Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 37C, which authorizes the court to impose appropriate measures when relevant ESI that should have been preserved is lost because a party failed to take reasonable steps to preserve it, and the information cannot be restored or replaced through additional discoveries. Now, types and categories of evidence to be preserved. To ensure compliance, you should immediately secure and preserve in its original, unaltered form a complete copy of all materials of all kind in your possession, custody, or control that may be related in any way to Nolan Wells or the people, places, things, and events surrounding or related to his unaliving. To assist you in this regard, attached, please find a document describing some of the types of evidence that should be preserved immediately. If you have not done so already, see the attached. Moreover, you should immediately suspend any setting on your cell phones, computer, video cameras, or other electronic devices capable of storing data that may overwrite or delete data after a period of time, which is good because you could just see you're being warned about that. That's a good thing because you got things that delete things after 30 days and all that. No, that's not even a reasoning, homie. We're going to bring that up at trial if there's a trial. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Please do not hesitate to call or have your lawyer call me if you have any questions. Sincerely, Carol Bufkin, PLLC. Please direct all future communications and inquiries to Ben Crump, Eric Hertz, Gary Bufkin, and his co-counsels, and then it have a subtitle. It said these types of categories of evidence to be preserved attached to this letter are intended to be illustrative rather than exhaustive. So blurry. Therefore, your preservation obligation extends to all potentially relevant evidence of all kinds, whether or not specifically identified herein. types of categories of evidence to be preserved. You are to preserve all materials of all kinds that relate in any way to the people, places, things, dates, and events surrounding the unaliving of Nolan Wells, including but not limited to the following. Then they go into the electronic communications, the text messages, SMS, iMessages, multimedia messages, MMS, WhatsApp communications, Signal communications, Telegram communications, Snapchat communications, Instagram direct messages, Facebook Messenger communications, emails, all draft emails and drafts. They're on it. All draft emails and messages, group chats, deleted or archived communications that's capable of recovery, cell phone, cellular telephone and electronic devices, cellular telephones, tablets, laptop computers, desktop computers, smart watches, cameras, external hard drive, USB storage devices, SD cards, or any other electronic storage device. For each device, you are to preserve the complete contents of each device. Social media and online accounts, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, X, formerly known as Twitter, YouTube, Reddit, Discord, and any other social media platform, including all posts, including all stories, reels, videos, live streams, comments, direct messages, deleted content, metadata, login history, account activity, logs, photographs and video recordings, photographs, videos, screenshots, live photos, burst photographs, drone footage, edited versions, original files, raw image files, metadata associated with every image and video, the metadata as well, not budget around here. Audio recordings, voice memos, telephone recordings, video, audio, interviews, recorded statements, dispatch recordings, and radio traffic, location information, GPS history, cellular location information, Google timeline, Apple significant locations, find my location history, navigation applications, geofence information, marina docking records, and vessel tracking information. This is good for them to do this because this gives no room to budge, no room to wiggle out to say that we didn't have evidence, we deleted this, my my settings was on automatically delete. No, once we don't have these evidences that you have most definitely been warned about, then it's going to be a big deal in the coming months. Okay, boat, marina, and dock records, vessel registration, ownership records, rental agreements, marina records, dock assignment records, slip records, and fuel purchases, boat inspection records, maintenance records, repair records, navigation records, GPS logs, electronic chart plotter data, um, engine data, safety equipment inventories, passenger manifests, and surveillance footage as well, law enforcement records, incident reports, supplemental reports, investigative reports, field notes, detective notes, officer notes, body worn camera footage, dash camera footage, Marine Patrol footage, dispatch records, CAD records, 911 recordings, radio communications, evidence logs, chain of custody documentation, witness interviews, recorded statements, search warrant affidavits, and digital forensic extractions. Now, communications of all kinds, including text messages, instant messages, and emails, prosecutorial records, investigative files, communications of all kinds with law enforcement, including text messages, instant messages, and emails, witness interviews, recorded statements, photographs, videos, grand jury materials to extent preservation is required by law, digital evidence received from any source, correspondence concerning the investigation, medical examiner records, autopsy reports, preliminary findings, final report, toxicology reports, histology, X-rays, CT scans, photographs, scenes photographs, evidence logs, chain of custody, biological specimens, tissue samples, blood samples, DNA evidence, internal notes, communications of all kinds concerning the examination, including text messages, instant messages, and emails. As far as physical evidence goes, clothing, footwear, jewelry, life jackets, personal flotation devices, cellular telephones, cellular telephones, watches, eyewear, backpack. Because we also got those the meta glasses, them, you know what I mean? Them glasses. Smart. Meta glasses, backpacks, bags, rope, coolers, any item recovered during the investigation, cloud storage and backups. This covers all grounds. It's real deal. They are really pushing the gas pedal on this investigation. Apple iCloud, Google Drive, Google Photos, Microsoft OneDrive, Dropbox, Amazon Photos, Carrier Cloud backups, automatic device backups, internet and search history, browser history, internet searches, download history, upload history, deleted browsing history, cached information, metadata, preserve all metadata associated with documents, emails, text messages, photographs, videos, audio recordings, GPS records, social media content, electronic files, deleted or altered informations, preserve all information that has been deleted, modified, edited, archived, hidden, replaced, scheduled for automatic deletion, or otherwise altered, including all information capable of forensic recovery, surveillance and security recordings, marina surveillance, dock surveillance, parking lot surveillance, nearby business surveillance, residential surveillance, traffic cameras, and law enforcement surveillance, private security recordings, communications regarding the actual incident at hand, all communications with or concerning Nolan Wells, the incident that resulted in his unaliving, any witnesses to the incident at issue, other occupants of the boat at issue, the facts and the circumstances surrounding Nolan's unaliving. Occurrences between July 2nd and July 6th of 2026 are inclusive. Law enforcement concerning the incident or investigation, medical providers concerning Nolan Wells, family members of Nolan Wells, news media concerning this incident, insurance representatives concerning this incident, and social media discussions concerning Nolan Wells or this specific incident. It seemed like they covering ground on this situation, bro. And it's a very smart move to go the legal route, like in a civil case. So then you get to actually, on your own independent investigation, kind of preserve this evidence, all of these evidences, which, you know, your hands is basically tied to the actual investigation. So I like how the family also didn't point fingers specifically to anybody. They also worked in conjunction with the investigators, even though they calling like what's going on, thinking that the investigation is really dragging its feet on this. They opened up their own independent investigation as well as the autopsy, which came back inconclusive or undetermined. So we don't know what the hell's going on until we figure out exactly what's going on. But they preserving exactly toxicology reports and everything else as well that's involved with the situation. I think that's also very, very smart for them to do. I like the route that they're taking right here. This is a very smart strategic move that the family is taking to gather these evidences that, you know what I mean? Because remember, Ben Crump has been saying, even in his press conference, we want to go through not only Nolan's phone, we want to go through everybody else's phone. You know what I mean? But now this right here, you gives everybody a fair warning to say, listen, don't delete this, don't delete that. Everything needs to be recovered, especially anything that can be forensically recovered as well. You need to be checking into that as well. So I think that's very, very smart on the family's part. All right. I think that's very smart on the family's part. Hold up. I want to go into another evidence that I have as well. Let's see if we can bring this up right here. Okay. This is from Janetta Brantley, right? She said, here, hold up. Let me move this off to the next side. Let me move this. All right, cool. Okay. It says, here is the 5-minute isolated version. This is the person that first enhanced the audio. They said, here is the isolated version of the CTO call. He says, I stopped the audio at the point where Vicky with the CTO International begins connecting with the captain who had just gotten off the phone with the boat's owner and the caller's grandfather. Nothing was added to this recording. The purpose of my processing was simply to make the audio already present in the original recording easier to hear. I strongly recommend listening with headphones, listening carefully, and come to your own conclusions about what you hear. Unlike my previous video, I intentionally did not include my interpretation or transcript of the background dialogue. I want everyone to listen for themselves without being influenced by what she hears exactly. She says, I also want to make one professional observation after spending roughly 24 hours working closely with this audio. I can hear what appears to be processing artifacts that suggest that the recording may have already been cleaned, processed, or otherwise adjusted before the version I obtained was released. I cannot confirm that, so I am not presenting it as fact. It is simply an observation based on what I hear in the audio. For my version, I kept the processing minimal and gained adjustments and subtractive EQ, no AI enhancement, and no generated dialogue, nothing added. Okay, this is the full 5-minute clip that I processed. And put your headphones on, listen closely, and judge for yourself. My heart remains with the Wellses family. Okay, that's pretty big. You know what I mean? This is the first person that kind of enhanced the audio, but we also know that the Marine responders, they also have their own version of the transcript of how they have documented what was said on the exact audio. And on their audio, they say, Nolan, I think he's dead. Then you hear a female voice, is he dead? Then it says, Nolan. And then someone says, Nolan, don't die. And then someone says, oh my God. Like all of these things are documented by the Marine responders. And this is what they do for a living. Okay. They react to emergencies. Some people, boats and vessels go down on the water. So now they have to go into documenting the transcript, getting that audio and combing and sifting through that audio and getting it right. So their version of the audio is also timing up similar to what this woman's audio is well. I also played her audio on my last live. Hers was played on I played it on Don Lemon's. I did a reaction to Don Lemon and Nancy Grace. So on the Don Lemon version, this woman came up, she spoke, and played her audio. And then on Nancy Grace's version, on my same live, check my last live, they go into the actual responders, the Marine responders version of the events and how it went down. And it just sounds very, very shady to me. But I'll also let you see who the lady is and what she was exactly saying, so you can see for yourself. Yeah, is it? Hold up. Is it mute? Why is it mute? Well, I'll bring it up because I don't know why it's mute because I can't hear it and I don't have time to spend on that. But I'll bring it back for y'all. But this is basically what she said. Her clip of what she's saying, this is the written breakdown of what she was actually saying. So, but what we do know is the family is suing. Good morning, Miss Rebels. Rebels is my name. Hey, Rebels. Um, this is crazy though, man. This whole situation is crazy. The legal notice indicates that the litigation is reasonably anticipated and directs the recipients to preserve the potential videos, photographs, social media posts, and electronic records. So once again, I'm not going to hold you. I think this is very, very smart on their behalf to get this evidence preserved. Okay. I think it's very, very smart on their behalf to get this evidence preserved. Hold on, let me bring up something on the back end too as well. I just think it's very smart, man. Because you could say that, yo, I didn't know, this got deleted, that got deleted. You know what I mean? You could just say things. But with this coming out now, it seemed like it's going to be much, much harder for them to even go into that, bro. So it's going to be rough. It's going to be a rough thing. Why can I see this? Hold on. Let me try to see this. Let me remove this. I'm trying to show y'all a file, but it's not pulling up for some reason. Okay, let me see this. Let me just bring this up. Let me take away this image. Yeah, man. So right now it's crazy. It's critical. So Ben Crump has continued representing Nolan Wells' family as they seek answers surrounding his death. And the family has repeatedly said that they want transparency and a thorough investigation into what happened. Authorities have said that the investigation remains ongoing. And the district attorney has indicated that the case will be presented to the grand jury, like I said before, once the investigators complete their work, which I don't know, are they dragging their feet on this? But that step is part of the process and does not by itself mean that anyone will be charged. And that's the scary part for the family, you know. An independent autopsy announced by the family's legal team reported that the cause and manner of his unalivement is still undetermined pending the investigation. And that's one of the scary parts about this whole thing, is that, you know, it's still pending and it's still undetermined. We can't disclose why he has the discoloration on the back of his neck, why the throat why the throat was removed as well. They said they can't really determine. They're trying to figure out whether it was due to some kind of force trauma, could be a strangulation, could be because even when you swallow water, your throat muscles spasm. So some of those things can be analyze, you know what I mean, much harder to analyze, but with further analysis, they can even break down those things as well. So I just want us all to remember that filing or preparing for a lawsuit is not the same thing as proving someone is legally responsible. So the investigation is still ongoing and no court has determined liability. But this latest legal move signals that the Nolan Wells's family intends to continue pursuing answers through the legal system. And I think that they're doing exactly what they need to do. So RIP to Nolan Wells once again. Condolences to his family, to anybody that loves him. You know, hopefully this investigation gets rolling. Hopefully we could tend to start to see some kind of changes, some kind of leeway, some kind of headway in this investigation. I just think it's just shady business, especially when you listen to the audio, especially from the Marine audio. When you listen to that, and we listen to the person on the phone responding to the responders, and they're like, okay, so you're taking on water. Okay, is the water to your ankles? And the person's like, their mind is somewhere else. They say, huh? What did you say? He says, okay, is there water in the boat? Like, I don't know. Just get here. Like everybody goes from a panic, like Titanic, and just this everything sporadic going on, to this person on the phone being very, very calm, even though we should be reacting calm in emergencies. But you're over 31 feet of water. Your boat is taking on water. Everybody's frantic. It sounds like, is he dead? We're hearing all these different things in the background. And automatically now you don't know what's going on. You don't even know if there's water in your boat. Besides the boat making all these moves, making all 4 or 5 moves, that's why they're trying to go into the fuel logs as well, because the boat went back to shore where it docked at, went off again, went to the boat launch, went off again and docked again, then went off again, and then afterward was towed over land. Okay, they said that the responders, I think also the responders who they was calling, didn't get a chance to make it in time. I think somebody else was on water and ended up towing them. Could be a friend. Ironic, even, right? So this whole situation just seems shady as hell to me, man. You know what I mean? But y'all tell me what y'all think about it. What y'all think about the new evidence, the newfound evidence? Do you think that this proves foul play? Do you think that the friends had something to do with his unaliving? They were blaming Katie for this, saying that he was with Katie and all of that. But Katie came out in a statement and said that no, the friends was saying for him to get on the boat. So I assumed that they wouldn't leave him, and said that they was just made an acquaintance and then they both parted ways. And Katie ended up getting back to shore by her brother and her friends, or somebody else made a call out for her to get her way back to shore. So it's just all types of loopholes in the statements, all kind of loopholes in this story. But hopefully we get to some facts on this whole situation. Salute to Monica. I appreciate you, Monica. Most definitely appreciate you. Yeah, let me give a couple of y'all some wrenches in here. Salute to the new people that's rocking with us. Let me give Monica a wrench real quick. Yeah, let me give Monty a wrench. How come I can't click Monica? Oh no, why they not letting me click you, Monica? All right, let me see if I go through my phone and click you before I end this live. Yeah, man. Salute to everybody that's a part of Ongoing. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you hit the notification. Make sure you're voting. Make sure you're liking. Make sure you're sharing. Most definitely make sure you're sharing. Okay, let me see if I could do it here, Monica. Hold up. Maybe because write something in the chat, Monica. Just write something regular. Okay, there you go. Maybe just write something regular because you sent something, and I'm trying to give you a mod wrench, but it's not letting me click on it. When I click on your name, it's not letting me do it for some reason. Yeah, I can't even click on your profile when I click it. So if you're here, Monica, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Salute to anybody that's contributing to the channel, supporting it, Cash App and Super Chat and all of those things. My Cash App is going along the screen, Udo on Go. My PayPal, all those things are the same thing. Good morning, good day, Queen Shay. Good day to Miss Rebels, and good morning and good day to Monica Carter. Appreciate you, Monica Carter. Hopefully you write again. If you just pop by, hopefully you write something again so that I can give you a mod wrench. Everybody that's supporting the channel, I just want to make sure that I support y'all back as well, and I highlight y'all because yeah, man, support is needed, and hopefully we lending our support to the family, even by prayer, or if you have any information, send it to the family. But that doesn't mean don't send it to the authorities as well. Help to further this investigation and make sure that they have everything that they need so that they cannot make no excuses about anything that has happened. So I will be updating y'all every update I get. I have another video that I'm going to do in a second. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit notification bells. And after this video ends, it'd be good if you can either hype the video, like the video, share the video. But if you could get in the comment section of this video and my last live, just go into my last live and leave a comment on the actual video. All of these things help the videos to get out so that we can get more people's comment on what is taking place, on what evidence you've been following, on what you think about this newfound audios. Does it change anything for you? Does it substantiate anything for you? That's all we want to know, all right? So salute to everybody. Hopefully you all are having a good day. Hopefully we all can find a reason to smile, and praying that God and Jesus can also touch Nolan's mother, his father, and his family and give them another reason to smile again, okay? Even if it's thinking of his smile, even if it's thinking of his spirit, because it seemed like he had a very light-hearted spirit when I see videos of him. So again, condolences to Nolan Wells' family, and I'll be back with another one. Just make sure you're on go. Uda, Uda, Uda. Always on go. All my niggas from the Uda. All my niggas turn shooters. Uda, Uda. All my ops turn rap.